it is finally time for some assembly. Like I said last night, we got the plus 50 keepers in both heads. We got some 1043 head gaskets that have a little bit tighter quench than the other ones that were here. So trying to do everything we can to get these disc pistons to give them a little bit of squeeze. And we have got this all cleaned up. So we are about to make this thing look like an engine again. Now, on some of these, I have seen some aluminum cylinder heads and gaskets not seal up real good right here. So I have found that just the lightest little film of RTV right here on this edge can really save you from some oil leaks. Don't go gooping it up so it holds the gasket up, but just that lightest little coat. It's a nice light little thing. It can make all the difference. Let's see if it fits. Alright. Looks good. And these do fit the chamber real nice. They fit the cylinder real nice. They're a nice tight fit. Again, just a little something extra right there. Because another important part, remember, never just slap a cylinder head on. You always brake clean it off, blow out the runners, blow out everything, so you know you ain't got nothing stuck, and a clean dry surface, so she'll seal on up. Upsy daisy. Why is it hanging up? There she goes. That's home. I got a head bolt somewhere.
The next day.
Alright, so we're right back to where we were yesterday. We didn't make any progress because when we opened up the head bolts, I started putting head bolts in and realized we had all the big 5/8 standard head bolt. And that really only works on cast iron heads. So we had to order a set of bolts. Luckily they got here in a day. And these are probably, let's see, it looks like a 1/2 inch head, but it has the washer built into the head to hold down and not gouge into the aluminum. So we're going to use these, and after closer inspection, the sealer on the threads is really thin. So always keep an eye on it. Just because it looks like it has it on there, look at it. It doesn't have enough. Now these bolts that originally came, that we got with the job, they had plenty of sealer on them. Real good. We're going to add some more to this and a dab of oil on the bottom of the washer. And we're going to hopefully get this thing going. We're going to start assembling this thing. Let's go. Now, torquing. Anybody doesn't know the small block Chevy, start from the center, you go up here, and from there you go in a circle, you torque her on the way outside. And these heads, I did look up the specs. It is 50, 65, and 80. 3 passes. They want you to take 3 passes on these things. And the bottom bolts don't go over 75. In the reviews, somebody snapped a bottom bolt off. So I think we'll listen to the instructions. So we got set at 50. $17. All right. And I'm just gonna go back over them all. And now my arms hurt. All right. And that's how you do that. I'm not gonna make y'all sit through the other one. Let me get this other head on. Y'all go get a beer. Now we got the other head done. Whew. That was a workout. I hope y'all had a beer for me, because I went over and had some ice cream with the kids and came back. Unfortunately, I don't drink while I'm working on customers' cars. Hard enough time keeping my head straight without doing that stuff. Alright, so what do we got now? Now we got a big old chubba can. Actually, it's not even really that big. Matter of fact, it's really just right. This size camera here can have a real good mid-range. And really, all the top end you're ever going to need. I wouldn't doubt if this thing would go to 6400 with a good head on it to help carry it. Now, the most important thing, just like the heads, we're going to blow this thing off with some brake clean. We're going to blow dry her off, make sure she's got no dirt on it. It being in a bag doesn't mean anything from a manufacturer. We're going to take a quick look at here. I mean, all these lobes look good. I want to get all the oil off of the lobe and put the moly grease on it and lather her up good, real nice like. And because you don't want, like I said, you don't want anything on the lobe but the moly grease, because you want it to stick. And then you give it the, and then you break her in. So let's do it. All right, now I already got some lube on the gear. It came with this driven assembly grease. Apparently for the hydraulic cams now, the grease part, not just assembly lube, but the grease is very important. Like, very, 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 very important. So we're going to do this one by one. I'm gonna lay it on nice and thick and make sure the lube is dry, so I know it's sticking real good. Put a nice old bead of that on there. We're gonna put a nice bead of this on it, and I do have some other moly grease if I run out, because I was not taking chances. Oh yeah, lube her up good, man. And make sure it actually feels like it's sticking. And it is. It does. See, you put it on dry, there's no oil on there. This stuff is a nice grease, so it does. It stays on there real nice. Put a little bit on the bearing. The journals are not as important. They're already polished. But we'll put a little bit on there. Like I said, most important part is just the lobes themselves. Put this stuff on nice and thick. Matter of fact, I hope I don't run out. And I'll do one set of lobes. Well, I'll do these two sets of lobes, and we're going to slide her in. Then I got to figure out how I want to set the valves, because I would usually, with a roller, just roll it over, start from top dead center, and just roll it over and over and over, and do each cylinder, because it doesn't matter. But here, you don't really want to roll it over that much and wear this grease out before you get her running. Alright, see, now I got two sets in there, so we're going to slide her on in. Actually, it looks like a little more on it right there. Yeah, a little more. A little extra on the tips. There we go. Alright. Oh, easy baby. Oh, look. Oh, man. She wants to go in so bad. She's just sliding on in without me even holding on to it. yeah. Alright, I'll finish this up. Y'all ain't gonna want to watch all this. Alright. Just put a couple bolts in here. Nice long ones you can get a hold of. Any old thing will do as long as it's nice and long. Where you can grab onto her and send her on home. Just like that, she is. In it to win it, baby. Now I just gotta take the bolts out. Alright. Got my gear. I'm not really gonna put anything on the gear other than that surface. Just a little scuff surface. I'm gonna add a little bit of this stuff. Oh, that was too much. More the merrier. Actually, that was a lot. A little bit of oil with this moly lube, this other moly lube. It's not as thick as what this is, but I do like it. Works. Now we got the chain, which yes, we did have it soaking. So that's why I'm not worried about the gear being all soaked. And we just gotta kind of figure out what we want to do here. Let's see, I already got that dot. Where's my dot for this one? This dot's gonna be like this, which means this needs to be over here somewhere. Somewhere just about, probably just about like that. Let's try it. Now let me see what I got here. I think we got it. Alright, now, you don't always have to do this, but I do. I'm just gonna, oh, that's a dirty rag. We're gonna wipe these off. I'm gonna put just a drop of Loctite on. And really, just a drop. Because better safe than sorry, my friends. Now let's see how we did. The other chain that was on here really wasn't that bad, but it was unknown. So we put fresh in. So there we go. We got the heads on and torqued. Got the cam in. These, I'm going to torque them, but there might not be enough resistance here to torque it without it just turning. So I guess we'll go ahead and try it. Alright, we're going to go ahead and do it. If anything, I think I can just hold the sprocket on the bottom. So, and it's only 20 foot-pounds. And 20. Set. Alright, let's see. If it spins, I'll just hold it. Let's see. Oh, see, didn't even need that. I'm gonna do. Actually, it'll be about 24 with a dab of Loctite. I think she'll be just fine. It might be a little too late to keep going tonight. I might test fit a couple of lifters. They've been soaking in oil and they've been sitting there for a couple days. They should be well soaked. But again, we are going to at least wipe the bottom off and put grease on the bottom of the lifter too. Because there are no limits. There is no limit to the fail-safes that you used to help a hydraulic cam break in. Because there ain't nothing wrong with a hydraulic cam. I ran one for years and then I ran it again and just didn't even worry about where I put the lifters, and I just slapped that sucker together and rocked out, and she still went 1130. So you know what, I think she's fine. I got a bucket. You need a bucket of lifters. Let's see how it feels. Not a whole lot of drag. No tight spots on that one. Alright. Still got plenty of oil on it. Let's see, what's this one? Alright, feels like the lifter bores, they're not bad. Oh, a little bit of assembly lube. And it feels like these lifter bores are going to be just fine. They're not super loose. They don't seem like they want to catch on any burrs. I'm going to put a little bit of oil in the lifter bores. Like I said, then we will put a little bit of oil, actually not oil, the grease we will put on the bottom of the lifters. And we will hopefully be doing that tomorrow. So I'm going to oil this up, and I think it's time to call it a night. So we'll see you tomorrow. Now, I worked all day or all night yesterday. You see I got the headers on, we got the balancer on. I forget where the videos ended last. I was out here last night just rocking out. I couldn't video because I was doing, I don't know if you can see them, but there's the down pipes. They turned out fairly good. I feel like they're somewhat even and symmetrical, but we had to, where are we at here? Yep. There's the old block huggers, and I had to cut these down and get them about, I wanted to get them a little over top the control arm and get them to go into the channel for the cross member, trying to get them to lay nice. It was not easy. We got her welded up. I had to kind of grind on my welds a little bit because I had some tacks that missed because I was doing it right here on my back, upside down and all. So, but the important part is we have some kind of extension pipe. We have some kind of pipe on it so that we can go ahead and button up the rest of the top end. I gotta check push rod length, intake, water pump, distributor, and then it's cam break-in time. So probably won't get a lot done tonight. I have to get cleaned up for another customer coming in tomorrow morning. So I did just come out here. I was welding until midnight. I got those pipes finished. I just bolted it up. Looks, I think it's gonna be pretty good. I might have to heat them up, and maybe when it's up on the lift, I might have to eye them out, maybe tweak it a little bit to get them nice, but they're definitely usable. He said he's gonna put a whole new exhaust on it that he already has, so that'll be good. So hang in. We'll be back on this thing tonight at some point, but for now I gotta do some cleaning up. First impressions and all on a new customer. I don't want to look like Sanford and Son. I wouldn't want to show them my true self yet. Well, they got to get in the door first, and then figure out how cool I am, and then they can see the Sanford and Sonness. Back on C10. Unfortunately, it's been almost a week. We had some parts malfunctions. Well, some parts just didn't jive. Push rods took a little bit to figure out what that needed. It ended up needed a 7950, not just a not a stock, not 100 long like most people. Most times you put a cam in, and most times 100 long will do it. We needed 150 to get the rockers up, and we ended up having to get another set of rockers. We got, we got some Jegs stainless rockers on a pretty good deal. They're not bad. Like, I don't mind the way they look. They look good. They're definitely going to do the job, and they were really affordable. So I might end up putting them instead of these on my silver truck. So we got rockers that don't hit the spring, because the ones that we had hit the spring in here where this recess is. You can see where it's got a little bit of a recess, The other ones didn't have that. I wasn't about to clearance them that much all the way on 16 of them. So we got these. They seem to work. The 7950 push rods work. Intake gaskets, we have the right size for the bigger head. It needed a 1205, which is just, it's like one size over stock. So, but we have all that stuff. And if you see, I've already put the rocker on here, tightened it down, and gave it a little, looked at it. You can see here, you can see the mark. Pretty dang centered. So we're gonna put each cylinder on top dead center, put both rockers on, set them, lock them down, take them back up, take the pressure off. I'm not going to bore y'all with this. I'm going to go through all these, set them, do them. I do have to clearance them a little tiny bit on the tip. Just a little bit on the tip is rubbing the top of the retainer. So we got to take just a little bit off. Because of the plus 50s, we raise the retainer up. So I got to take just a little tiny bit off. And we're going to get the same on the back stretch. Home stretching. Rock out. So I'll see you when I get done this. Because nobody wants to watch this. I ain't that good looking. So this isn't too complicated. All you gotta do, you're gonna back this off. I can feel it got some play. Oh, it stopped. It's very light. When that thing stops spinning or has drag, you can definitely tell it, but it's light. You just have to be a little in tune with her. Realistically, you can go quarter to a half. So we're gonna go loose, snug, and half. I'm going half a turn, that's it. Lock down a poly lock. Come back. You bring it back a little bit, and then you snug this down, and when you go back, you snug them both together. And that really locks it in nice. I'm going to check my clearancing. Looks fabulous. Looks in line. I'm going to use the same two rockers to run all the measurements. So basically I'm just going to take these off. And I'm going to put the poly lock back on the one that I'm working on, so we don't lose it. And we don't get them out of order and out of adjustment. So there is cylinder 1 done. Now I'm going to take this push rod. I'm going to take these two push rods and these two rockers. I'm going to spin it over till number 8. Just for craps and giggles, I'm going to, yep, see, there's my intake valve coming up. Number 1's on top dead right there. And then we're on top dead at number 8. I'm gonna rock them all out. We're gonna do the last one. And since it's almost 1 in the morning, we're gonna call it quits after that. Alright. Y'all are probably laughing at me for doing it this way. But some of you are probably gonna be freaking out because, oh my god, you can't do this. Well, you know what? You're right if it's a solid roller, but it's hydraulic. So you know what? When I give it a half turn preload and I mark my poly lock on every one, when I go back, I'm going to lock them down to my paint mark pointing up. And then I'm going to give them all a little extra. So there'll be a hair over a half a turn. Not a bad deal. This arm is torque angle certified to 180. Wipe the tops off. One of the most important tools you can have, a white ink pen. As a matter of fact, I'm going to mark top dead 0 too. Top dead 0 on that. just going to give this a little dab right up top. And a dab right up top. As you can see, we have all of our marks on all the poly locks. Then all I got to do is cover the motor up and not let the towel wipe that off, and we'll be in good shape. Okay, it's 1 in the morning. I'm going to bed. We'll be back out today. We might have this thing almost ready to break in. Back in the shop. And this thing's finally ready to go together. So, of course, the basic thing is always keep it clean. So we gotta clean these surfaces up. Make sure nothing's in there. Keep the heads clean. Oops, a little bit of junk went on that one. Always keep it clean. I say that like I can keep a clean garage on a dirt farm. But one of these days, when I strike the lottery and become famous in YouTube, I'll pave my entire driveway. It will be awesome. Yeah, probably not. Probably not. Alright, that looks good. Everything's dry, free of oil. So my form in place gasket will be just fine. Let's go get some gaskets. Okay, we had to get these because these were the bigger ones and they actually fit the port. So we have Felpro 1205. I believe in my car I run 1206. It's even bigger, but we got 1205. And look at that nice fit. It's a little wide, but it's at least the right height. The other one was definitely not tall enough. I didn't like that. These heads are, they fit this pretty good. Like I said, the runners are still wider. You have some room to open up the ports. Pretty good. Pretty good. Don't mind that at all. I mean, it's kind of a little bit of a raised runner, but it's going to fit on these bolts just fine. All right. Time to crack open my high quality stuff here. This is actually stuff from Toyota has. They call it fib. Well, we call it fibbage. It's form in place gasket, and this stuff gives Ultra Black a heck of a run for its money. This is some good stuff. It goes on. I think it goes on easier and smoother, and does a really nice job of keeping things straight. So we're gonna glue these down just a little bit. We're gonna put just a little bead around the coolant passages because never be too safe. Just a little bit, not a lot, not a lot. Just a nice little film around that. Give that coolant passage a nice spot. And then right here between these two center gaskets, we're going to give it a little extra goop to hold it in place. That's really all that's for. That's just to hold it in place. And we're always going to give it a little bit underneath here and inside this corner. And when you push the gasket down, that way it'll kind of push a little bit into that seam. Because I have seen some head gaskets leak oil right here from the top if you don't quite get enough stuff in there. So, and that looks pretty good. Looks like she's in place. Not quite centered. Oh, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty centered right there. I kind of like it. Kind of like it. All right, let's do the other side. Y'all can laugh at me like hurting myself and getting this hood latch jammed in my gut and all the things. All the things. A little bit right there. A little right there. Oh, easy. Like I said, this is some nice soft stuff. I like it. Alright. Oh, matter of fact, I just put my arm in it. You can never not do it. You can never not put your arm in the silicone. It's just, it's like, I don't know. It's like a coming of age ceremony. Get that stuff all up in you. All over you. That's something. Let me get that off real quick. Pause for this brief moment of stupidity. Do 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 do. Oh, heck with it. Be good enough. When it dries, it'll peel off. It'll be fine. Alright, so what do we got? These runners look pretty straight. Need this to lift up a little bit. And the bolt holes are all the way at the bottom of my holes for this. Just almost did it again. Just barely nipped that one a little bit. Alright. That's right there. Give it a good tap. Alright, we ready for the China wall? Of course, we all know our little cork or rubber end seals. And we also know what you do with those. Y'all hold on to them. I don't need them. I hate those things. And we're going to make the Great Wall of China. Because it's how we roll. I don't really need that much. When I test fit the intake, it did not have a whole lot of clearance. Alright. Now I'm going to have to I'm going to get in here. It's going to knock the phone over. You guys are going to be like, what the hell are you doing? Then you're going to hear me fall out of the truck, and you're going to hear me like screaming for Siri to call 911. Help me, I've fallen, I can't get up. You know, it happens. Old China wall gets a little thin back here. And still, and again, just put that little extra in the back corner here. I like to put extras in the corner. Get that sucker to lay down. The intake lays down there and pushes it all into the right nooks and crannies. All the good stuff. Of course, all my blades that watch this, they'll be like, no crap, dude. Because we've all done these small blocks 1,000 times, but you know, we're getting old, and you know, some people don't do it this way. They don't know these things anymore. So you don't get mad at me doing it. Okay, these Flowtech heads, they're not bad. I like the way they line up. They leave a lot of room for some port work, but yet the center stays pretty true, and it's pretty true and straight on the coolant passage. It all lines up pretty well. I like it. All right, let's go get the intake. This is where I fall out. Hold on. You ready? Are we set? You know, this air gap thing's kind of nice. I can just kind of like take it straight on down like this. All right, let me get in here. Just like that. Just that easy. That looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Looks like, oh, wait a minute. We need to come forward a little bit. Yeah, I think it needs to slide forward just a hair. See if I can get it to do that just a little bit. Nah, I think it'll. Now, slide this over a little bit. Yeah, that's over a little bit. Okay, I like it. Gasket sits up over the runners. A little bit more on this side than that side. It's cocked a little. See if we can fix it just a little bit. Oh, here we go. Now how much gap do I have? All right, almost no gap, almost no gap. Oh, that's straightened out. Real nice like. I don't know why I say that all of a sudden. All right, let's go get some bolts. See, look at that. Let's rock this thing. Okay, now ran into a little bit of a snag because the intake is bigger and has bigger runners. Looks like we cannot use your standard 9/16 head 3/8 bolt. So looks like we'll have to use some nicer bolts there. But this thing does have spacers that go in the center 4, and you either use these, which you can run, I guess raised runner or not raised runner, because the hole is not centered, but it's flat. They also come with 4 of these that have an angle to them for the cantered heads. So if you put these on a what is it, the 87 and up, with the cantered bolt holes in the side or in the center 4, you can use them too. So I thought that was interesting, and I can tell that this needs to be on the bottom. So we're going to put that in there like that, and I'm going to use my standard 9/16 bolts on the centers so that it does hold these down good and tight. Don't like the idea of having that thing too loose, and you have a small head bolt on that trying to hold that down. So we're going to do that. Plus, I don't think I have enough of the small head bolts to go around anyway. So it's also out of necessity. This is how things happen. Just how it happens sometimes. Oh, I just dropped the one spacer, so now I'm gonna have to get back out of the truck. I'm also trying to keep goop off of the poor intake so we don't make the intake look nasty. Try to keep it nice, real nice. I like to keep it nice. I know, I'm still ridiculous. I get it. I know, I understand. Y'all can laugh at me. That's part of the game. It's all part of the game. Okay, here we go again. Going back. I had to wipe my hands back off because I had to go in the truck. We're trying to keep as much dirt out of this poor thing as possible. Will it work? I don't know. All I know is we got some bolts and we got stuff to do. So let's do it. Put that spacer back in the back there. Of course, when I came up here, it probably would have been smart if I had, got the 7/16 and the 9/16 wrench. But we can't be like that. All right, one more big bolt, and I'll be able to get back out again in fall again for the 14th time, and get some wrenches, tighten this up, prime the oil system, drop the distributor, all of the things. This has been a pretty fun little project. Whew. Sometime I'm going to have to leave to get ice cream with my boys, because that's how we roll. Oh, that's not it. That's 3/8. Here we go. Alright, there's no reason to put you all through the tightening sequence. We just check the oil. It does have some, which is good. So we had our push rods in, and some people just take an old distributor shaft and just turn it into a oil prime tool. The problem is you don't want to do that. You actually need this piece in here to seal the oil passages and to do it just right. Now, I also hadn't had this part that long, so I'm really not worried about the rockers and all being in there. There we go. Alright, that's good. I don't need to prime it with the rockers and all on it. You're supposed to, but you know what? I'm gonna have them all lubed. All that's gonna be lubed up. I just need to make sure that there's no air coming up to the lifters, because we want it to hit right away with some oil pressure. The whole top side, we don't really have a whole lot of spring pressure. I am not worried about those raw rockers. Okay, let's throw some more goodies on. We got a little 1-inch spacer. It's aluminum, which isn't too bad, but actually this intake's so big that realistically this thing could probably use like a 1/2 inch wooden or phenolic. I like those. Might help with some might help with the heat. I'll probably suggest that to him. All right, I now can. Now I'm going to show you all a little trick here. This is what I like to do when you're doing the coolant temperatures probe. I don't like to just why would you just like it? Let me just run this right here. Now, what you can do is when you have an air gap intake, you take it under the intake. You bring it up the side, and I'm going to bend this around, and I'm going to put this, I'll show you. I'm going to take this around here, pull up just a little slack, and it's going to go right through the intake and go in here. Oh, I need another adapter for that. That's too small. So you can run this, and then I can run that back through the car, and that's going to stay nice and clean. We're going to let it come up right there. And probably bring it on the other. Well, it depends on the throttle shaft, but yeah, that's what I like to. I like to keep that clean. I think that's a little nicer. You run it through the intake, back up here, and you only notice it right here. It's just one of those little tricks. Here we go with the next big thing. The distributor. Yeah, I got a hole in my table like that. This thing is really tight. I don't even know if I can show this to you. See if I can like hold on to this phone somehow. Let me just stand y'all up over here. Alright, now I don't know if you can see this, but see this? That is entirely too tight. You get no performance from that. You get no performance from that slow curve. Hey, we're doing spinny things. Now let's see if it's any better. I just redid it. I can easily do this now. So it's a little looser. Let's get this thing dialed in. Starting to look like something here, ain't we? We got the distributor in. Best way for doing this. Hey, look. Rotor pointing right over to number 1. Line of sight. Right? Pretty close. It's pointing to number 1. That puts the cap for an HEI. That puts the cap for an HEI pretty close. I think it's right there. And it's almost, the front two are almost even pointing forward. They're a little off, but so what you do is you mark. You see my little mark. Take a Sharpie mark, put it on number 1, and then when you put the cap on, you put another mark on the base. Then you rotate this off, and look at that. We got it right on. It's actually a hair past, so it's a little bit advanced. It's a little bit advanced from that mark. And you know what? I'm going to give it a little extra, because I have the balancer set on about 10. And I'm going to advance this. So it's probably just a tick more. It's probably like 14. And then there should be about 20 degrees in the advance springs. So we should have over 30. Not much more than over 30. So that should be pretty good. This bore motor, even if it was at 40, it wouldn't care, honestly, because it doesn't have enough compression or cam to hurt it. But you got to have the timing. Once you get a cam like this, you've got to have the timing, or else it's not going to be happy. You got to give her timing, and you got to give it to it early, and it'll stay smooth, it'll snap. And for just one bonus crown jewel here, let's, oh, look at that. It's a little taller than it used to be. I think we're still going to have plenty of room to the hood, though. Yeah, man. Alright, I like it. Now let's see, I gotta get, that's gonna have to come down here. I'm not really sure what hole this was in. Probably that one, looks about right. I'm gonna put a washer, and I'm gonna actually get one of my hair pins. See if I can get that to work in there. So hopefully we're in the last day of assembly. Hopefully. But you see the old big old bracket for the alternator? I hate these things. I have no clue why they made a big old bracket like that had to bolt to the intake and the water pump, when there's a spacer on the back of the alternator that bolts all the way to the block, and there's almost no wiggle out of, there's no play in the alternator. It's not like it had to lock it down harder. So let me show you a little trick that I like to do with these things. Are you ready? And let me show you the tool of the trade that we use to do this little trick. What could go wrong? Really, what could go wrong? Alright, so we're going to blow all the trunnions and rollers out. We're going to dip them right into some oil, and we're going to get this thing going. It is time. It's done. We're going to get the rockers on, get the valve covers on, put the radiator in. I'm waiting for my bracket to dry that I just made. Fill it up, and hopefully this thing's ready to go for tomorrow as soon as I get home. So let's get to it. So it's a little bracket for the alternator. All done. I even put a little paint on it. I don't have a whole lot. But so you want to see a little, what I consider to be an improvement over the big alternator bracket. I just trim that thing up, smooth it out on the grinder. And there's a lot less material. And oh my God, it doesn't move. Imagine that, since it has its spacer all the way up against the head there. Why they over-engineered that thing with that big bracket on top, I'll never understand. But I like to cut that thing down into one little. Most of the cars back in the day, all it had on the alternator was an arch bracket with a slot in it. So I trim that down, smooth it out, get a little paint. I do like to use, when I do that, I do make sure to use a little bit of a thicker washer on the bolt going on the alternator for tightener. Just for a little extra surface area on it. I don't like a small washer there. And then you can put a chrome alternator on it, and then you're not covering it up. See? You gotta show off the bling if you get it. Oh, look at that. We have water in it, the battery's in it, not hooked up yet. Valve covers are on, rockers are on and tight. Distributors in, should be timed. Plug wires in, plugs, plug wires. Got the water pump. Got my fancy little new bracket that I cut up there. It's looking pretty good. Wires look alright. Everything looks to be good. So tomorrow when I get home from working on boats, all I gotta do is get some fuel, fill the bowls with fuel. Tank has fuel in it, and it's go time. Cross your fingers, and we're breaking this thing in tomorrow as soon as I get home from work and eat dinner. Because right now it's midnight. I'm taking my butt to bed because I gotta get up and go work on boats and then come back here and play with this thing. I'm going to bed. Night, y'all.